welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the blueprint for social mastery. And look, this isn't about trying to change who you are at your core. It's about giving you the skills, the actual tools, to confidently walk into any social situation and build real, genuine connections. Let's dive right in.
So, let's start with a feeling I bet a lot of you know all too well. That sense that you're kind of on the outside looking in. Like social situations are this complicated maze and you just don't have the map. It's that feeling of watching opportunities pass you by, both in your personal life and your career, because something just isn't clicking.
But here is the absolute game changer, the core idea we're running with today. This is not a fixed part of your personality you're just stuck with. Not at all. Social confidence is a skill, just like learning to play the guitar or speaking a new language. And this explainer, this is your guide to mastering it.
So where do we even begin this journey? Well, it doesn't actually start by looking at other people. It starts by looking inward. Before you can truly connect with the world around you, you have to connect with yourself. Real social skill begins with having a crystal clear understanding of your own internal landscape.
I mean, think about it this way. Trying to navigate the social world without any self-awareness is like you're trying to solve a maze with a blindfold on. Yeah, you might get lucky here and there, but you're mostly just going to run into walls. Self-awareness is what takes that blindfold off. It gives you the map to your own mind.
And check this out. We can actually borrow a super powerful tool from the business world to help with this. It's called a SWOT analysis. It helps you get really concrete. You sit down and identify your internal strengths and weaknesses, like maybe you're a fantastic listener, but you tend to avoid difficult conversations. Then you look outside yourself at the opportunities and threats in your environment. This gives you a real strategic plan for your own growth.
And there are also some really simple daily things you can do to build this self-awareness muscle. Journaling, for instance, isn't just about writing down what happened. It's about spotting the patterns, what triggers you, what makes you feel great. And asking for honest feedback, well, that helps you see your blind spots. And clarifying your core values, that's like giving yourself a compass to guide all your decisions.
Okay, so once you start to really know yourself, the next massive step is learning how to manage your emotional responses. This is all about going from being a victim of your feelings to becoming their master, especially when things get intense.
There's a really powerful metaphor for this. Imagine you're the captain of a ship and you're sailing right into a massive, turbulent storm. Life is going to throw these emotional storms at you, right? A heated argument, a crisis at work. Emotional control is your ability to stay at the helm, to steer calmly instead of just being tossed around by the waves.
And this gets to the very heart of the matter, the huge difference between reacting and responding. A reaction is that automatic, impulsive thing that often leads to regret. But a response, that's thoughtful. It happens in that tiny little space you create between a trigger and your action. And emotional intelligence, well, it lives right there, in that pause. And you know what? There's a ridiculously simple technique to create that little bit of space for yourself. The next time you feel a really strong emotion bubbling up, anger, anxiety, whatever, just pause, stop what you're doing, and take one single conscious breath. This tiny little action hits the brakes on the reactive part of your brain and gives your rational mind a chance to catch up and choose a much better response.
All right, so you've been doing the inner work. Now it's time to take all of that and start building bridges out to other people. This is where we turn that self-awareness and emotional control into actual, genuine connection.
Okay, if there is one superpower in all of this, it is empathy. Seriously. And it's way more than just sympathy. It's not about feeling for someone. It's about trying to feel with them. It's the skill of stepping outside of your own head for a minute and genuinely trying to see the world through their eyes. This right here is the bedrock of any meaningful relationship.
And look, empathy isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a skill that you build through really tangible actions, like active listening. When you say something like, "So what I hear you saying is," you're doing more than just repeating their words. You're showing them, "I am trying my best to understand you." And when you validate their feelings, you don't even have to agree with them. You're just acknowledging that their experience is real. You're making them feel seen.
So now that you're armed with self-awareness and empathy, you are ready to level up. We're talking about the advanced skills now, handling the two things that can wreck relationships faster than almost anything else: conflict and a total lack of boundaries.
Oh man, the blaming statement. We've all heard this one, right? And if we're being honest, we've probably all said it. This is a classic conflict starter. It's not a description of a problem, it's an attack on someone's character. And you know what the natural human response is to that? To get defensive and fight right back.
But now, just look at the difference here. Notice the total shift in focus with an I statement. It's not about them, it's about you. You state your feeling. You describe the specific behavior that caused it, and you express your need. It's almost impossible to argue with how someone else feels. And just like that, you've turned a potential fight into a problem-solving session.
The other huge skill in this section is setting boundaries. And I love this analogy. Think of your personal energy, your time, your emotional well-being as a garden. Boundaries aren't giant walls you build to shut people out. They're the fences that protect your garden from getting trampled, making sure you have the space and the resources you need to actually thrive.
And really, so much of this comes down to mastering the art of saying no. Not in a harsh or aggressive way, but politely and firmly. Because think about it. Every single time you say yes to something you don't have the energy or time for, you're actually saying no to your own rest, your own priorities, and your own well-being.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. It is so important to remember that these skills we've talked about, they're not a class you take and then you're just done. They are tools for a lifelong practice of growth, a continuous journey of becoming a more effective, connected, and fulfilled person.
And the payoff for doing this work? Oh, it's absolutely huge. And we're not just talking about being better at parties. We're talking about building deeper, stronger bonds with the people you love. We're talking about advancing in your career because you can lead and collaborate. And we're talking about developing the kind of inner strength, that resilience, to handle whatever life decides to throw at you.
So, let's bring it all home. We have laid out the entire blueprint for you. You now know for a fact that social mastery is not some gift you're born with or you're not. It is a skill. You have the tools now for self-awareness, for emotional control, for empathy, for setting healthy boundaries. So the only real question left is, what kind of world are you going to build with them?